Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back. It's been a minute, but we are here. I'm Felix Hemsley, and this is the Off-Piste Podcast. Today, joined, thank you very much, by Ed and Tom. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure to be back, Felix.
And a pleasure to make my off-piste debut.
Here it is. Yeah. Ed, we had you after you came back from Japan.
Yep.
So you're not allowed to talk about that anymore?
No, I mean, you try and stop me if you like, but, might slip
Absolutely
a bit
will. Yeah, absolutely. So how have things been going? We're looking at the cusp of the season now, so things have been pretty hectic up to this point.
Yeah, very exciting. I feel like coming up now is kind of when we get into the really why we're experts of what we do. A lot coming on, clients starting to think about those preparations, but also great selling opportunities. And I know Tom and I are both massive skiers, lining up a few ski trips ourselves, so can't help but feel a bit of excitement, and the office is super busy, so really good.
What you got lined up, Tom?
For me personally?
Yeah.
I'm off to... where am I going again?
You're going to Val d'Isère, mate.
Val d'Isère. I am going to Val d'Isère in December. That's just come about in the last sort of few days. I was hoping to make an appearance at Courchevel Live.
But you're not going there now?
But I'm not going there anymore.
Oh, very nice. Val d'Isère, though, start the season, that'll be good.
Be lovely. Chance to see some new properties that only one or two of the team have seen so far.
Yeah.
And explore the rest of our Val d'Isère portfolio, hopefully.
Probably not all of it, given the size of it, but,
The chalets.
Okay.
The chalets.
Fine. But we're here today not to talk France, Val d'Isère, or anywhere else. We're here to talk Italy. You guys had a fantastic trip earlier in the summer.
Yeah, feels like a while ago now, but apologies, but absolutely amazing. Really incredible trip. I'm sure Tom will sort of join me in saying it was incredible, unlike any other sort of trip I've done previously, and really beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, it has skyrocketed to the top of my list of places that I need to ski. Absolutely beautiful, and can't wait to talk a bit more about it.
I feel like that's what it's done for a lot of people. It used to be off-radar. I feel like it's trailing Switzerland in terms of the popularity increase that we've seen even over the last 4 or 5 years. Switzerland used to be that kind of backup to the French Alps. Now it's a very core dominant piece. And now Italy, we've always talked about having a much smaller portfolio there simply by its nature and development. But now it's starting to develop, as you say, as a destination. Beautiful place to be in the summer, but for skiing, just awesome.
Which I think still is the case in terms of we're still sort of trailing other countries that we work with in terms of property available there. But it's coming faster and faster. I think even today we've discovered a new property that we weren't previously aware of in the area. And for me personally, having sort of grown up skiing in Austria, which I think is sort of similarly picturesque, Italy really does have that draw with the scenery.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and just like culturally, again, something different. And I think people are growing aware of Dolomites, and with the Olympics, which I'm sure we'll come and talk about a little bit later, coming to Cortina, I think it's going to put a spotlight on it and just really drive that demand globally to be in Italy and ski those slopes.
Yeah, and we can talk about it now. Obviously, we're very much on the edge of Cortina now for winter. For 2026.
Exactly.
So that's kicking off late January.
Yeah, so it's sort of the end of Jan, sort of the first 2 weeks of Feb is when it's all going down. But I have to say, when we were there, it felt very busy. And I think overall very exciting, apart from it made a few one-way systems, which Tom, our chauffeur, had to navigate, which led to some interesting moments, but they're certainly busy.
But you're here to tell the tale, so they can't have been too bad.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I just think it'd be an amazing way to really showcase that part of the world and what it's got to offer. And Cortina, when we went, felt a little bit sort of beautiful, but not quite as new and refreshed as somewhere like a Courchevel or something. And I think the Olympics coming and that real kind of investment in development is going to be something that will really hopefully bring it right back up to the top of that list and alongside those other resorts that we know so well.
Yeah.
Like somewhere like a Verbier.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the infrastructure that they'll see coming from it will be fantastic. Not sure many of us will be going on the ski jump, but hopefully everything else that's going into place will add some excitement and versatility and variation to it. So that's really exciting to see. But back to your trip, I guess you were out there seeing a number of properties that were new to the portfolio as well. What was the sense of what's going on there? I mean, everywhere we look at, Switzerland, France, Austria, Italy, very different in terms of the offering that they have, both by region and by country as a whole. What's the sense that you get from your Italy trip of what's on offer there?
I think the sort of most telling thing that we noticed was the flexibility that they're able to offer. There's quite a lot of independent properties out there run by either the chalet owner or someone representing the chalet owner. And whereas we see, the sort of well-functioning model in France or Switzerland where a chalet is generally either catered or self-catered, we are seeing increasing flexibility as demand changes. But more often than not, there's a team in place for the season and that it's going to be catered or it's not going to be booked. Same sort of thing for self-catered. Mm-hmm. With Italy, it seems they can do anything. They're sort of self-catered often as a base, but if you want to add a breakfast service, you can do that. If you want to add a chef for 1 night, 2 nights, or the whole week, it all is sort of feasible and can be bundled together, which I think is really quite useful given the changing demand for maybe having a more pared back service. Yeah,
and it's, as you say, it's kind of gone the opposite way in the rest of the Alps, where people are demanding that flexibility to come down from what may have been I don't want to call it overbearing, but that full service level, to come back to something a bit pared back, a bit more relaxed, to give you that element of independence that people are looking for in a lot of the bookings we're getting. So I think that's a really interesting nuance. I would say it's Italian laziness to not have it planned in the first place, but that would be rude. I think I'll call it their version of laissez-faire and see what people actually want. But certainly shopping list approach makes total sense for what people are looking for and we're seeing elsewhere. So which destinations were you visiting whilst you were out there?
So we started off in Cortina. That's where I arrived on the first day. And sort of beautiful. Of all the places that we visited, Cortina probably the best opportunities for sort of shopping, and if you're sort of going to go into the town and explore that side of a ski resort, probably the most comprehensive. And I think also for dining options, the sort of most high-end options, and that's where we started. And then, I can say it.
Yeah, and then we moved on to Araba and Alta Badia, a couple of lovely properties in those sort of areas. That was quite a sort of whistle-stop tour. I mean, one particular sort of unique property that you kind of have to talk about out in that direction is White Deer, San Lorenzo, which sort of sits on its own, I think sort of 25-minute drive, was it, up sort of switchbacks to get up there, and it sits on its own. It's got its own helipad. This old sort of converted farmhouse. It's got its own golf course, all played off one tee.
Just the course? Can you have a course off one tee?
Yeah, it's 9 holes.
Right.
Sorry, it's not
one hole, 9 tees.
One green, 9 tees.
Right.
Sorry, yes. All playing onto the same green with different holes. But it's the sort of course that if you miss the green first time, you're taking quite a long time to find the ball. But no, absolutely stunning. The most sort of picturesque scenery you can imagine. And I think we were the first, other than perhaps Rupert, to make it up there. So it felt quite special.
And I have to say, one of my favourite moments of the fam was we were driving up there, and you drive to this sort of little village, kind of at the bottom of the road that Tom alluded to, and met by this absolutely lovely sort of 40, 50-year-old Italian woman who's the housekeeper there in this tiny little white car. And we had quite a nice car from the rent agency, didn't we?
Yeah. And
Tom thinks himself to be quite a good driver. And by the time we'd gone about halfway up the road, we were convinced this woman was ex-racer. It's the way she just flew up these bends, leaving Tom in the dust.
I think she must have stopped to wait for me 3, 4, 5 times on the way up there, because it was, you were I was putting Ed and our colleague Georgia at serious risk if I was going any faster than I currently was.
Thanks for looking after our staff so responsibly.
He did a very good job. Just had to, just let him know that it's fine that he got beaten by a 45-year-old Italian woman.
She knows, she's local. She knows the roads. It's cheating, really, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
you were showing the respect that the mountains deserved, that we always offer these wonderful playgrounds.
Designated driver for a reason.
Yes, well, I've seen Ed driving on the few occasions he's come to work, and I'm glad you were driving, Tom. White Deer, fantastic property. Very different visiting in summer because it's snow locked in winter, right?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, they have a helipad there, sort of marked out by some sort of rocks, which looks rather treacherous to fly into. But I imagine that would be a fun way to get there. I'm not sure if you would just take the road up in winter.
Yeah, so you can take the road up. Obviously, I think arriving by heli is the more grand entrance, and that would be pretty amazing to do. But you certainly can drive there in the winter.
I really hope it's still the woman in her white car just driving up in the winter.
Probably.
She just puts winter tyres on and off she goes.
I don't even reckon she needs winter tyres. Just,
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Still probably beat Tom up.
Cruel. So where were you off to after that then?
Well, so then we went to Selva Val Gardena, which I think I can speak to both Tom and I when we say we fell in love.
With each other?
Sorry, we already
We've
loved
done
each
that
other,
already.
Felix.
Okay,
That was pre-trip. But Val Gardena was just absolutely beautiful, and we were quite lucky. We managed to spend sort of 2 nights there, which was our longest stint of anywhere on the trip. And I think something almost whenever I visit the Alps, but Val Gardena being a new area to me, getting to have that little bit of time somewhere, just the most amazing place. And one of the things that kind of really, really struck me is I grew up skiing a lot of big French resorts, which feel now like you sort of have the main resort and then all the locals live at a town sort of slightly lower. Whereas Val Gardena just felt like there were the locals and the tourists and everyone living everywhere. It's that kind of real air of authenticity. And when you went out to restaurants in the evenings or bars or whatever, there were all the locals there. It wasn't just tourists and skiers. And I think that is really sort of beautiful and charming and something quite unique actually compared to some of the bigger destinations that we have clients travel to.
I assume because there's just less infrastructure, so the choice is lower, so everyone is actually just living like a local.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also it's quite sprawling, that area. So it's we often see, as you often say, the mountains get in the way. As much as we love them, if you take somewhere like Zermatt, just the space to build is so confined because it's steep mountains and you can't get around that. Val Gardena, if its translation is the Garden Valley, it is sort of really sprawling and spread out, and there were kind of properties everywhere you look. And I think that ability to have more space means that the sort of price for the properties isn't quite as high, and therefore the locals can afford to live and sort of be in that area. And it's just, I don't know about you, Tom, but I just absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah, that's the highlight of the trip. I think as Ed alluded to, is having the time there. We probably have the most property there out of any of the sort of Dolomites resorts that we operate in. So it made sense to spend more time there. But actually the way that it worked, because often you're just going to see an independent property rather than going with a specific chalet operator to see 6, 7, 8 chalets. It just gave us so much time, didn't it, to really both get to know the properties and take time there, but also to get to know the resort. And we sort of had the opportunity to go up one of the lifts and have a walk around. Was it the Cicada we tried and failed to? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, in order to say. And then we ended up going the lift in Selva. So just a little bit of quick geography. Val Gardena is the whole valley, and then within that you've got Selva, Santa Cristina, and Ortizay, which Selva and Santa Cristina are effectively one place. We were actually staying in Santa Cristina, right on the border, but you wouldn't know if there wasn't a signpost. Right. It just feels like the sort of they have their own centres, but they just kind of merge with the buildings. Whereas Ortizay is kind of a little bit separate from that, and maybe a 10-minute drive down the road. And yeah, so just a bit of quick geography.
And from a ski area perspective, all independent of one another, interlinked?
Interlinked.
Okay.
So now you get access to the cellar under as well, which is just it's something that's a real bucket list item for me to go and ski. And certainly having been there and talking to the locals about it and seeing it in the summer, which was stunning, but you always look at it as a skier and think, wouldn't that be amazing to put on a few skis when there's a beautiful covering of snow and have a go. So yeah, just if anything for me, just consolidated the idea that absolutely the cellar under is somewhere I must ski at some point for sure.
Maybe this winter.
Yeah, maybe this winter. Who knows, Felix?
Yeah, I always find it hard. When I'm in a ski resort in the winter, I can't imagine it in the summer. And when I'm in the summer, I can't imagine the ski slopes on it. So I find it really tricky to ascertain that. But obviously, it's much easier to access the properties to go and view them at that time of year. So all comes with its benefits. I was going to ask where you'd go back to, but it sounds like Val Gardena is the default on that.
I think it would be. That's the real bucket list one. I think having spent the time there, as Ed said, you just want to see what it's like when there's snow covering the roofs and the slopes. We haven't yet, however, talked about the final destination, which was we had the pleasure of staying at Chalet Dos, which was that's near Madonna di Campiglio. Another sort of luxury resort in the Dolomites. It was quite a significant drive away, made longer by one wrong turn that I managed to take while Ed was having a nap.
I was sleeping, so I didn't notice.
And I think that added about 45 minutes to the journey, taking one wrong turn at a crossroads.
It's a problem in the mountains, isn't it? You kind of get a bit stuck.
Yeah. No, it was really great, and Georgia and I were really happy that had happened to us.
I the whole thing.
He didn't know. But no, Madonna also equally stunning. I feel like a better place for people who are sort of looking for a bit more of a secluded ski area, particularly Chalet Dos itself, sort of old converted farmhouse sitting quite a way away from anything else, and just the most charming property and chalet manager, in fact.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of my sort of favourite moments of the whole trip is they've got a Chalet Dos, a wood-fired hot tub, and they very kindly put aside a bottle of Trente Doc for us, and sitting in a wood-fired hot tub, looking up at the stars, was just absolutely breathtaking. I think one of the things I'd highlight about Chalet Dos is it's a little bit, as Tom mentioned, it's outside, so it's sort of a 10-minute drive to the lift, which often I think clients look at and think that's miles away. But in some ways, that's the property's beauty. You're in the middle of nowhere. You have complete privacy. So for those looking for an escape that's not just about how quickly can I get to the lifts, but to rent a big property, family there, really warm, cozy feeling. You've got plenty of, games room, sort of all this kind of stuff, and a really homely sort of hearth to the chalet. Just absolutely beautiful and so tranquil and serene. You just couldn't help but relax there, could you?
I think that view of the stars might be one of, if not the clearest view of the stars that I've ever witnessed. It was really quite special, and from the sort of busyness of the previous days to that final night where we're all sat in the hot tub and just sort of total tranquility was really something that I think I'll always remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like there's a lot of that hot tub we don't need to talk about. So it was how many days were you out for?
5
days.
5 days.
Yeah, 4 nights.
Probably felt quite hurried whilst you were there, despite the moments of relaxation in each resort.
It's funny you say that, because I think we're so used to doing fam trips that are, you're seeing 30, 40, 50 chalets in a day, sometimes more. And that's what feels hurried. I sort of alluded to it earlier, the sense that, we were in Val Gardena for 2 days and we saw 10, 15 properties, which just, and it was the same everywhere else. You're seeing a few properties a day. There's a lot of driving, which we can come to. But in terms of the sort of busyness of the day, it felt quite relaxed, if you can say such a thing for a fam trip.
And I think that that's really beautiful because you get to know the areas. Tom and I, neither of us had been to the Dolomites before, and because it's something so different, and I think the geography of it is something that I was really keen to get in my head on the trip. It just allowed us to just absorb it a little bit and that kind of thing. But yeah, there was inherently a lot of driving, and that's kind of what spreads it out a little bit. But
Well, there's a lot of driving for Tom and some sleeping for you by the time.
yeah, fantastic nap time.
But how was it driving?
Oh, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Georgia and Ed were sort of thanking me for being the designated driver, and I was sort of telling them not a problem at all. It felt. I think we did about 1,000 kilometers of driving across the week, and it genuinely felt like I was on Top Gear. The scenery all around. I could have done another 1,000 kilometers. It was possibly the most I've enjoyed driving ever. I think
Beats Oxfordshire, does it?
it does.
Okay.
Yeah. The drive from Abingdon to Whitney just can't quite compare.
That's fair. It's an area I've always wanted to go to from a photography perspective and never managed to make it out there. So maybe one day I'll find an excuse. Maybe I'll find a fan trip to go on. What was the highlight of the trip? Ed, you've mentioned 2 points, but there must be something that really stands out, and it can't be the Starry Night hot tub moment.
Oh, that's a shame. The highlight of the trip.
Or the highlight property.
The highlight property, to me, I absolutely love Chalet Villayette in Ortezay. It sits sort of quite high up in the resort, almost on its own. It's almost like the highest property, or certainly one of them.
Yeah.
With just the most incredible views across sort of the valley towards this ancient rock face. And Chalet only sleeps three. It's only got 3 bedrooms. Sleeps 6 plus 1, and it's run by an ex-world ski champion, Isolde Kostner. And part of booking the chalet is a day's guided skiing with her included in the price. It's got an incredible spa, beautiful outdoor pool. It's the sort of property that works just as beautifully in the summer as it would in the winter. Amazing projector screen that comes down from the living rooms right in front of the view. Incredible sound system as well. It's got everything, and it's so rare that you see a property like that with only 3 bedrooms. Could be taken by just one family, and for the facilities and the service on offer, it's quite reasonably priced too. I struggle to think of anything else that sort of like it on our portfolio.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a very unique property for that sort of small getaway. But the only other thing I was going to mention as a highlight is we spent one night in San Cassiano, in the Hotel Chazas Solares, which is a really beautiful property, and just had the most amazing dinner. So it was a restaurant that I believe was sort of formerly Michelin star, but they've now kind of split it up into what they call dining experiences. So what used to be one restaurant now sort of has several different things, and we had a Wichita tasting menu down sort of in the wine cellar, which was sort of really atmospheric, and it was quite funny that they brought out the wine list, and it was like, this thick, and it could have been a dictionary. Given that my order's normally red or white, I was a little bit lost. But they're super friendly, and they came and they said, "This is what you're having. Would recommend this," and it was absolutely exquisite.
But it wasn't just anyone, was it? It was the owner of the hotel. Was sort of personally looking after us, and all of the staff there. The food was incredible, but the staff could not do enough for you. Even sort of trying to take our bags on the walk up to the hotel, and we've got like a little suitcase and a rucksack each. It's not.
You
required,
thought you were being mugged, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. No, but they just couldn't do enough for you. And I think the focus on the food as well was so notable. The amount of care and attention to detail that went into sort of every aspect of the food in Chazas Solares was really quite special.
And I think going into that care and detail, One of my favourite things of the whole trip, they had a room dedicated to chocolate.
I was going to ask about this chocolate room.
Yeah. It
What?
was.
Yeah, I'd been told the words, but not been told what the experience was.
Well, whatever you're thinking, Felix, it was better. I absolutely loved it. And essentially, it's a room, kind of one wall is full of shelves, like you might have a sort of a library or something. But instead of books, it's got an even better substitute, which is every chocolate you could ever imagine. From sort of, 100% cocoa dark to white chocolate to with nuts, with caramel, whatever you can imagine, and probably more. It was on that room. And then just kind of take you in, and you can then select the chocolate you want, and they bring it out on a plate. And as you can tell, I'm very enthusiastic about this. But I imagine, any child taken in there, if I'd been taken in there when I was younger, it'd been like my dreams come true. Talking to a room full of chocolate, just pretty amazing.
It was
I'd absolutely not let my daughter go into a room of chocolate.
It was really quite hush-hush, though, wasn't it? It was sort of like, do you want to come in chocolate? And you walk in, and on the right-hand side, there's a statue, a chocolate statue, effectively. It must have been 2 or 3 foot tall. Was it a wolf or some animal? But you almost couldn't believe that people made chocolate that size.
Wow. So a nice chalet and a lot of chocolate and a very nice hotel. Pretty good combo. So a really good trip, a lot of properties seen. I'd encourage everyone to look at our Italy portfolio because it is growing all the time. And there's a lot of variation in there that there wasn't a couple of years ago, and options now. As I always end these things with, if you were going skiing tomorrow, assuming there was snow anywhere you wanted to go rather than it being pre-season, where are you going and where are you staying?
Well, I think just talking about Italy again, it's got to be Italy. It's got to be the Dolomites. As I said, the Cellaronda, I think, is a must. So I'm going there. Where am I staying? I mean, Villa is tough to beat. We did also spend 2 nights in Villa Carolina, which is amazing. But I would probably take Villa and go and ski the Cellaronda.
Tom wants to join you, apparently. I can tell by the look on his face.
I do want to join you. I'm sure that would be lovely. I am going to throw out a wild card and say Chalets Lefero, which is relatively new to our portfolio, only sort of been added in the last year. And we had the pleasure of looking around with the owner, Sylvia, who claimed not to really speak a word of English. And I think she'd sort of learnt 25 odd years ago when she spent a month in the UK or something and basically spoke perfect English. There was not a thing that we said to her that she didn't understand or was able to respond to. But really beautiful properties. It's sort of 2 apartments, effectively 2 chalets within the same building that can be taken either separately or together, both with amazing spa facilities, and you just get the sense you'd be looked after so well there. So have to give a shout out to Sylvia and the Lefero chalets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Sound like excellent trips to go on, and I hope you do get to do them. And long may the fam trips continue to inspire these wonderful experiences and journeys. Chaps, thank you very much for joining me today, and for, as ever, shining a wonderful light on the areas of the Alps that people may not have explored before, and our portfolio that's ever expanding. And you guys hold all that knowledge very much close to your hearts, and I always want to share it with people. So hopefully these exercises allow you to do just that and inspire others to go and discover these fine properties as well. But thank you very much again. Look forward to a good winter. Hopefully some of those properties seeing some great bookings. To those listening and watching, thank you very much for joining us. Please go and check out the Italian portfolio that we've got. Any questions you've got for the team, as always, just drop us a line. Until next time, thank you, take care, and goodbye.